What is good, guys? Welcome back to Behind the Dugouts. And let's keep it simple. There's only one thing to say about this game: bottled it. We bottled it completely from the starting lineup to the team performance, bar a few players. We threw this game away completely. And props to Brentford. They walked away with what I feel for them is a deserved point. They gave it their all from minute one all the way through. They shut us down and they got the result that they needed, that they would have wanted in this game. But Chelsea, let's talk about the lineup first off, right? We all expected rotation. I expected it. Most fans expected it. And the players that were rotated in were players that I expected to be rotated in. However, there was one decision that I was particularly confused by was the fact that we had played Fafana at right back. Now, Fafana in this game looked like a player that had not played any football for a long period of time. It's clear. But also, playing in the right back position, he was positionally unaware the whole first half. He didn't know when to go forward. He didn't know if he should stay. I didn't quite understand what Maresca was asking Fafana to do. I was trying to work it out. And at no point did it ever come to me in that first 45 minutes. And when we've got the likes of Reece James, Malagusto, and Josh Achiampong, who I would put all above Fafana in that right back position, I didn't see the need to play him in there. Initially, when I thought it was going to be a back three and it was going to stay like that, but it wasn't, because the majority of the time, Fafana was floating between the idea of going up and supporting Pedro on the the right hand side to get the crosses in, and then he was so far away from the defense when he needed to make the recovery, he wasn't even running back; he was just jogging. So immediately, straight off the bat, when I saw that lineup, that was a concern for me because it didn't make sense, and it was proven right because he was taken off at half time. Which, fair play to Maresca, the players that he did take off at half time definitely needed to take off. Hato coming in, knew he would come in for Cucurella. Cucurella needed the rest. He did okay. It wasn't an amazing performance. He didn't look settled. But again, he's not played many minutes. It's going to take him time for settles as a young player. So I expected it. I didn't expect to come on and have an absolute masterclass. So I've got no problem with that. But he did need to come off at half time. Fafana definitely needed to come off. The change was made, and we looked more balanced, because I think that was the biggest thing that Fafana didn't give us, is the whole back line was completely unbalanced with the players that we had in that lineup. Another player who is clear, and I have to say this about a lot of the fringe players, these second choice players that are coming to cover, our main starting 11, they're not up to the speed. Gitten's another player, another fixture where he should have and could have taken this game as an opportunity to prove something, to get himself a bit of confidence, to get himself a bit of fluidity in his gameplay, and he didn't take it again. And I'm not going to sit here and absolutely berate the lad, because he's a young player. He's just come in from a brand new league. He's going to take time to adapt. So I've got no problem if he's got these kind of games, isn't, because I'm expecting inconsistency from young players. However, I don't feel right now he is ready to be starting these type of games. He needs to be coming off the bench and trying to make an impact from a bench. So it's unfortunate for Gittens, because I'm sure he would have come on with the intention to try and take this opportunity to nail down that spot. But right now, I think for me, the best two wingers we have is Pedro Neto on the left with Esteval on the right in this current state, in the way that these players are performing. Obviously, Esteval being ill, he wasn't part of the team. I also didn't expect him to really be a part of this team, considering how much football he has played and the fact that he's gone on with Brazil, and it just made worse by the illness, which kept him out of even making the substitute bench. So on the whole, the first half, it wasn't great at all. It wasn't great. There was no fluidity in our play. We had a lot of possession, so you can say that we were comfortable on the ball. Naturally, we controlled the game on the most part, but to have all that possession and all that control and to create absolutely nothing from it, it is pointless. What is the point of having all that possession? When a player that came in that I knew was going to come in to replace Cole Palmer, even though Cole Palmer was fit enough to play and did get on in the end, I knew he wasn't going to start, and Buonanotte has been touted to be his, understudy to play the games that he cannot if he's injured or not fit enough. He started all right, first 10 minutes was okay, and then he just disappeared. Nothing. Towards the end of the first half, doing a good few 1-2 passes, got inside the box where he should have shot but didn't and laid it off. Could have been a bad touch where the ball rolled away from him a little bit, but that's just like nitpicking at it. But I wanted him to take a few more shots, which he didn't. And again, another player that come off. And when Cole Palmer did get introduced in the second half, we were a completely different team attacking wise, like completely different. So yeah, the first half. Now the first goal that we conceded, pretty much carbon copy of the Fulham game, really. Same players involved, same situation, and we got caught out again. But the biggest problem I have with how we conceded that goal is not because it was a repeat of the Fulham game, because for some reason we seem to be playing this incredibly high line. Now, tactically, if Brentford, which I thought they would do, would play a really low block, the high line makes sense, because we want to close up the pitch, we want to close down so they can't get out from playing their low block. So I get that. But they didn't do this in the game. And there was no change in that. We continued to play the high line for the whole game, and we got caught out for it. But there were two or three occasions prior to the goal where they had the same situation. Long ball over the top, chasing behind. I think it was Shardra that kept getting in behind. He clearly had the beating of pace for both of the defenders. And there were three occasions that they had done that and they didn't get any joy. So there should have been alarm bells straight away going, look, they keep trying this. Well, maybe we need to drop a few yards to prevent this from happening. But at no point did it switch on with Trevor or Tosson in the back line or Maresca on the sideline. They continued to keep playing it. And I understand you've got to have confidence in your tactics. But when they are getting joy, which they were, you've then got, you've got to change something a little bit. You've got to know in your own mind a little bit of common sense to maybe I should just drop a few yards to give myself that extra bit of time to make that recovery. And they didn't. They kept pressing high. They got caught out again. Fafana was way too high up the pitch, so he couldn't even make the recovery run to provide any assistance in blocking that goal. And we conceded another carbon copy goal from the Fulham game. And this one stood this time. No VAR to save us this time. Second half, better. Better, still not amazing. Cole Palmer come on, as I said, completely changed the attack. João Pedro for me today, a little bit out of sorts. Again, he's playing a lot of football, come from international break, and he was floating between a lot of positions. Went from the 9 to the 10, back to the 9, and it can disrupt the play a little bit. But even when he was playing in the 9, I found that he was dropping really deep, sort of doing what Harry Kane does all the time, which frustrates the living hell out of me because we want our striker in the box. There was a few times Pedro Neto put the ball in and there was no striker there, which is my biggest frustration with Harry Kane when he plays for England. He just never seems to be in the box. And today, João Pedro was like that for the majority of the game. Later on, I think when Cole Palmer did get introduced, he was finding himself in the number 9 spot on the penalty area, and that's how we got the goal. He was in there, the ball coming from across, he's nodded it down, and it's reached Cole Palmer, who's put it in the back of the net. Great. We're now looking like we're on top. The momentum's with us. We need to go take the game by the scruff of the neck. We did not do that. We continued to play reserve. We should have gone all out. Substitution, I felt Gitton should have come off a lot earlier. He wasn't at it, as I said. We left it pretty late before his come on. I thought the Tyreek George up front again was a strange one. I like Tyreek George, but he's not a striker. And the fact that we brought Mark Gu back and he couldn't even make the bench was another strange decision, but it is what it is. But he went up front, ineffective, didn't make sense. Went out on the left, looked better, looked much better. But again, some strange decisions in terms of personnel. Then obviously Garnacho come on last sort of 10 or so minutes. And we went on and we went to get that second goal. It was a ball down the line. He broke down the line, dribbled through, cut back. Defenders try to clear it into Caicedo's feet, banging in 2-1. We're looking good. Not long left of the game. It's peachy. We should see this over the line. Well, I thought so. I was wrong. Defensively today was our biggest thing. I think attacking, we could have done better, but we created opportunities to win this game. Cole Palmer had a few of other ones that he didn't take, but we were 2-1 at that point to the 93rd minute. And then disaster. Absolute disaster. Now I'm going to put a picture up before I go through it. I just want you to have a look at this. Now I know it's a little bit fuzzy, but you can sort of gauge what I'm going to say about this. You can clearly see in the defensive shape how we are marking this long throw. We have 5 players surrounding one Brentford player. You then look behind, you've got 2 players with one Chelsea player. And then behind that, you can see Garnacho, who's not really aware of Fabio Carvalho behind him. And I'm going to get on to Garnacho in a little bit, of course, because I know that's the biggest frustration amongst the fan base, the fact that he allowed him in behind. But what I don't understand is A, how we are set up for this long throw to have 5 players marking one, when just behind that you've got 2 free players with only one. So one of them at least should have peeled off to aid support in that too. And how on earth have we lost out on 5v1? How is that player won that ball? I do not understand this. And it's one of those things that when we talk about defending corners, defending set pieces, we talk about 2 different styles. One is man to man marking, which I think is the most realistic, it's the best way to mark. And the other is zonal marking. So each player is designated a specific zone in the box to mark. And any players attacking wise that come in that zone, it's their player to mark. That's why you get a few odd matchups every now and again. Like you'll see maybe Caicedo marking an Ethan Pinnock, where clearly there's a massive height difference, but it's because it's a zonal situation. This clearly shouts to me that it's based on zonal, so that player was in there. But to have 5 players in the same zone, again, doesn't make sense. And you can't tell me they're all man marking that one guy. And if they were, they were awful then, weren't they? Because they still lost out on it. But defensively, the structure on how they set up for that set piece, don't understand it at all. Then we talk about the Garnacho. Do I think he should have done better? Of course, absolutely. Am I going to blame him entirely? No, because we should have dealt with it before the ball even reached that point, but we didn't, obviously. He should have been aware of the player, should have been checking his shoulders. He should have, even his body position is so square, he's just facing the ball rather than standing at an angle so he can see the pitch and the ball and any players that may be running on. So he's too square. But defensively, he should have done better, of course. But I'm not going to sit here, and I've seen this across the fan, an absolute meltdown. And I get that some people really, really didn't want Garnacho. I get it, and this is just giving them a bit more fuel to the fire, really, so they can, stoke it and bring their displeasure of the signing to the forefront even more. But to say that which I've seen a lot, he's not going to contribute defensively, or defensively he's really bad, and they've watched all the United games and they've seen that he's terrible. Firstly, this is a different manager, a different team, a different setup. Secondly, he's played 10 minutes of football. How have you decided that he's defensively not going to be good enough in 10 minutes of football? Don't understand. It takes time for him to learn the tactics. Thirdly, we are drawing 1-1. Maresca has made tactical attacking substitutions to go win this game. His job was not to come on and be defensive. His job was to come on and be attacking. So for him to say that he's not tracking back, he's not been brought on to track back. He's been brought on to go create opportunities, get an assist, get a goal, whatever you can do to help us to win this game, which he did initially to get that crossing to allow us that second goal. He also created a few chances later in the game, which Cole Palmer fell to him again, but he put over the bar. So attackingly, he created those opportunities. He created the opportunity that got us a goal. So attacking wise, he's done what he's been asked to do. But I do agree that defensively, in that particular moment on the long throw, he should have done better, and he will done better. But I'm not going to sit here now and say because of that one action, I'm going to write Garnacho off completely. Because what I saw going forward in the attacking sense, he provided me of more of hope and less concern in 10 minutes than what Gittins has done in over 3 or 4 games. And again, I'm not berating Gittins. I'm just saying where they are currently. The plus that Garnacho has is that he's played Premier League football for a long period of time. He's used to the physicalness. He's used to the speed. That's why it's going to be easier for him to settle in. So I get that. And Gittins hasn't taken his opportunities, which we can all agree he's not looked amazing. But I do believe he will with time. He just needs to adapt. But I'm not going to sit here like some people are and completely write Garnacho off. And I'm not going to sit here and completely write the team off after one. It wasn't a poor performance. It wasn't great. It wasn't amazing, but we didn't lose. We're still unbeaten in the league. So there is still going to be improvement, and I still expect the team to improve, and I still expect us to have a good season. I'm not going to throw my toys out the cot because we didn't get the result we wanted. Because let's be honest, after the international break, it's always trash. It's always slow. And I have to admit, even the games prior to the international break, we have always started slow in the first half. And one of our subscribers in Courtney, he's mentioned this quite often that it is true. You know, Chelsea have started slow in pretty much every game this season. So I'm not gonna go down the rabbit hole and think that the season's completely over and we've got no hope because I'm still confident even after this game. But we look at this game in isolation, and yes, it should have been better, and we could have done better, and we should have won this game, but we didn't. Now, what we've got to do, the game's over. We roll on to the next big game, and it's Bayern Munich, and it is Champions League football. This is what we've been waiting for. And I guarantee the performance that we saw today will be improved upon for the Bayern game because, well, it's going to have to be because if we play like we did, we'll get absolutely romped by Bayern. But look, so I'm going to say it again. Just get the frustration. I understand it, and everyone's entitled to opinions, but I'm still going to back this team. I'm still going to back these players, these young players, and I am still expecting us to have a very, very good season. But of course, I'd love to get your thoughts and opinion on the game, on the players. So drop them in the comments below. Let's have a chat about it. But for now, guys, that is all from me. If you are enjoying the content, please smash up the subscribe button, hit the likes, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.